Good morning, kind people of YouTube, and welcome to Tall Guy Rides. As you can see, perhaps today I am out riding the Honda CB350. I'm not sure which version it is, Deluxe or Deluxe Pro, but I think it hardly matters. But what I can tell you is that in the few 10, 15, 20 kilometers that I've been riding this bike, it's a brand new bike. It's probably done only 30 odd kilometers. This is my father-in-law's motorcycle, and I am very much in love with this motorcycle, and I will tell you why in this video. So breakfast is done, and now I am back on my way home from Lonavala back to Pune. And now let's talk about the motorcycle. Let's talk about some of the ergonomic aspects of the bike first. What I really like about the bike is that despite being a smaller bike, this is a fairly comfortable motorcycle for somebody my size as well. I'm 6'4", and I feel just perfect right at home on this motorcycle. If you look at my arms, there's a very comfortable move forward towards the bars. Elbows are bent, they're not too straight, they're not too bent, and they're not at an awkward height or an angle. I think this is very comfortable. You can see that the bars are kind of coming towards the rider, and I think that's really nice. I mean, I think I could ride this bike without risers, so that says something, because on most bikes I would like risers to be put, but on this I don't think it's really necessary. If you want the handlebar to be a little bit taller, all you can do is probably just rotate it up, and that should be good to go. Now that's for your handlebar. The controls are all very nice. The grips are not too big, so even if you're holding it from the center, is not much of a reach to your controls, as you can see. One thing that Honda does in particular is it has the horn button up top versus the indicator, which is lower. I think on all the other bikes the indicator is here and the horn is at the lower end. I don't know what study Honda did when they came up with this concept, but I think all Honda bikes have this, and all other bikes follow the usual pattern of the horn being here. Now let's talk about the seat. The seat has a slightly bucket shape, or whatever saddle shape that you want to call it. I hope you are able to see it. And the seat is firm, on the firmer side. I think this being a city bike, it could have been a little bit softer, but it feels nice and supported on the long ride. So 60-70 kilometers, no issues whatsoever for me. So I think I like the seat. It's nice and wide enough for my bum as well, and as you can see, the pillion seat is also nice, wide, long, so I'm sure the pillion comfort will also be good. Let's hop onto the bike and talk about the knee ergonomics, the rider's triangle. And for me, again, very comfortable, almost close to say like a 90% bend of my knee, about maybe not 90% but maybe 80%, 85%, and it's very comfortable. Even the Himalayan has more of a bend, more of an angle on the knees than this bike, which is very nice. I can sit nice upright and ride this motorcycle. A very, very comfortable motorcycle indeed. I like it. So the ergonomics, I think, are almost spot on. Maybe the handlebar could have been a little further back, and that's something that we are gonna see what we can do about for this motorcycle. But I like it a lot. I don't know why I have not ridden this bike for a longish ride, 100 odd kilometer, 200 kilometer ride yet. Many of my friends own the bike. It's just that I've never gotten around to borrow it, and I am very, very pleasantly surprised by this motorcycle. When you talk about the gearing is very nice. You have a particularly long second gear, and that allows you to stay in second gear and only switch to third gear if absolutely necessary in city traffic. So in the city you can stay in second gear throughout your ride, and because of how long that gear is, you're able to just, you know, maintain city speeds and also quickly pick up the pace whenever required to accelerate. Now I can do about 80, 85, 90, inching towards 100 on the third gear, and the vibrations are just minimal, only on the foot peg, nothing coming through the bars. I love the engine. I mean, this is what you get when you buy a Honda, and you still have the fourth and the fifth gear to go, but the fifth gear is more of an overdrive sort of a gear to reduce the RPMs at 100, 110, which the bike very easily goes to. But yes, now above 100 you have a little bit more vibrations coming in through the foot pegs, but nothing through the handlebar, or very little, or very, very little through the handlebar, which is really nice. One more gear, handlebar vibrations are gone, and off a cruising you are. I really like this bike. I think this is one of the most underrated bikes in the Indian market at the moment. I've ridden the Classic, I've ridden the Hunter, I have not ridden the Bullet because it's almost the same as the Classic. And I feel the way this bike delivers its power, the ergonomics, the overall package, and also the quality of the fit and finish, the way the wiring is managed, the paint colors, all of these things, they all are like so good, so good. Like if you look near the handlebar, the yoke, very little wiring is visible, and just feels that it's been thought and made. Like there's a lot of thought that has gone into each aspect of the motorcycle before it's come out. A couple of things which I feel are a little bit amiss on the motorcycle. A is the mirrors. Don't get me wrong, at higher speeds there is no vibration on the mirror, but the stalks needed to be a little bit longer, because for most part I can only see my elbows in the mirrors. So either it needs to be adjusted a little bit differently, or basically the mirrors need to be a little bit the stock needs to be a little bit longer, and the surface of the mirror, surface area of the mirror needs to be a little bit bigger to get a better view of what's behind, because I have to kind of like twist my head and tuck in my arm to get a better view of what's behind me. Second thing that I think little improvement is needed is the braking department. Like the front, like when I slowed down right now, I did grab a big handful of the front brake, and the slowing effect is very gradual. I mean, I had compressed the brake maybe 70-75% of what the brake could do, and the slowing down effect just wasn't there. So maybe the brake bite could be a little bit stronger, because this is not a slow machine. It can pick up the pace fairly easily, but in a linear manner, very linear. It doesn't have the mad rush that some other bikes in the 350, 370 cc category can do. But yes, front brake could have been a little bit better. Now let's check out the rear. Again, I looked behind me and braked. I think I just like smashed the rear brake, and it comes to a very progressive like a very progressive slowing down is there for the rear brake. Maybe it shouldn't require me to like step entirely on the rear brake to get that kind of braking performance. Maybe it needs to be a little bit better, but this is a fairly new bike. Maybe the brakes haven't really been used enough to get the proper bite from them on the calipers. So yeah, maybe that is the issue. Tires for now seem to be fine. I haven't really like done anything out of the ordinary. I'm just like going straight on the highway at a normal speed. I'm not taking the bike through any twisties, so can't really comment on that, but for now seems to be fine. It is really heartening to see when there's a couple going out for a ride, both of the riders, that is the rider and the pillion, are both wearing high quality helmets. And in the same breath, we have somebody on the scrambler, the tram scrambler. The guy has a helmet, and his pillion, who looks like she's a girl, doesn't get the helmet, and he's hustling the bike, as you can see. I'm not being a slouch either. I'm doing about 80-85, and this guy is just pulling away from me. Can you hear that in the background? I think this is one of my complaints or issues that I have about this bike, is the exhaust. What sounds really nice at city speeds, that is the lower speeds and lower RPMs, kind of gets annoying on the highway when you are doing about 95, 100 and above. Let me just show that to you. We are about 95 right now, and the exhaust gets pretty loud. And when you're doing long distances with a loud exhaust like this, not a good combination. You will need to wear your some noise cancellation buds to protect your ears from tinnitus or tinnitus or whatever the term is. Basically, continuous noise can cause you to go temporarily deaf, and then the effects get worse and worse over time. But This is one of my gripes against the Honda CB350. What sounds good in the city doesn't necessarily sound good on the highway. The bike could have been a little bit quieter. And the third gripe that I have with the bike, I think I'd already mentioned. Yeah, is the camera on? That I'd already mentioned is the rear brake. Sorry, my bad. Is the exhaust. So that's the third, number 3. That could be a little bit better. It sounds really nice in the city at a lower speed. Let me just bring it down for you. So 50, 60 at the right RPM, it sounds really nice, throaty. The exhaust note is really good. But when you pick up the pace, you're at about, say, 90 or 100. That's when the exhaust does get a little bit annoying, because it is a fairly loud exhaust. So what works at city speeds doesn't necessarily work at the highway cruising kind of a speed. And I think riders that do take this bike on longer rides should wear earplugs, because that is quite a earful. I'm not sure if you're able to hear this, but that's what it is. And look, I'm doing 110 on 4th gear. I still have a gear to go. Vibrations, little vibrations only on the foot pegs. 5th gear, very nice and smooth. Very nice and smooth. That's where the Honda engine shines compared to the current J platform 350cc engine from Royal Enfield. That engine, I mean, to get it to past 90 is a task. You have to really lean on the throttle for the bike to go anywhere above 100, and progress after 85-90 is very slow. On this, not so much, fairly easy to do. I reached the 110 mark without actually realizing that I was doing 110. So yeah, I mean, kudos to this machine. I'm really liking the Honda CB350. I mean, I think this would now become my top recommendation, at least for my end, for taller riders who want a bike that does city rides and occasional highway weekend ride. Not for somebody who does very long tours, but occasional riders and mostly commuters. I think this is now the top recommendation that I have. So color me impressed by the Honda CB350. I do like this bike. Now, that said, if you have any questions about the bike or any thoughts that you have, please do share it in the comment section and I will reply to you. And in case you want some urgent replies, then feel free to ping me on Instagram. And I mean, just in general, if you consider liking or subscribing, then please do that as well. That would be very helpful. With that, thanks for watching. Cheers, ride safe.